Phone addiction.
Okay, so Jen, we're going to talk about media and technology, like phones and music, things like that. So the first one is, how addicted are you to your phone? Like, how long can you go without using your phone?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Because I would say I'm very addicted to my phone because I keep on checking it every 5 minutes. I feel like without my phone, my head doesn't, my brain stops working, Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say the maximum I can stay without it would be 1 or 2 hours.
You've got to be kidding me.
I mean, if you asked me in the past, yeah, I could stay without it for a while, but nowadays, I don't even own a watch, so that would be my time as
Right.
well. So I have to keep checking it.
Wow.
What about you?
We are polar opposites. Actually, I am so bad about not using my phone, and it's a smartphone. Actually, I have two. I have an Android Galaxy and I have an iPhone. I set them down and forget where they are and go days without actually checking them sometimes. And I'll go to work and somebody will be like, "Are you mad at me? I've been trying to reach you and you won't." And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at you. Why?" And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't even checked my phone in 2 days." So,
That sounds so crazy to me because I could never go without my phone without 2 days, for 2 days.
yeah, well, one, there's a couple of things. One, it's old school, right? And two, I get all my information on the internet on a PC. So I'm working, so I get everything on the internet, like Facebook, news, stuff like that. The computer, like you said, tells the time. So I actually forget about my phone.
Okay, then I think if I have a PC, then I would also forget my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
But your generation, you're it's all in your hand, right?
Yeah, that's right, because it's more convenient.
Have you heard the term second brain?
No.
Yeah, somebody at some teacher conference was saying that phones are students' second brain. So they use it. It's you hold it and you have two brains, one in your hand and one in your head.
I would agree.
Yeah, well, it's weird. So how about music? How addicted are you to music? Do you have to have music playing all the time?
Not all the time, but then I would have to listen to music at least once a day, because, it just refreshes your mind and you can just relieve from your stress through music. But it depends upon what kind of music you have. What about you? Do you like listening to music?
No, I do, but I'm not a music aficionado, and I always listen to the same 10 songs. I think a lot of older people, we kind of get in that rut where I listen, honestly, to music. And I'm from the 80s, right? So I'm 48, I'm almost 50. So I love music from the 70s and 80s, and that's all I listen to.
That's understandable. Actually, I also have a lot of old songs, but I just don't listen. It's not like I just keep on listening to those music. I actually keep on adding more music, more songs to it, so that my playlist is is updated every now and then. And I think if you have good music, you will actually be addicted to it. Maybe you don't have good music.
No, the music from the 80s is good. Okay, so what about TV? Do you watch TV every day?
Not so much, because lately I've been so busy at school, so I cannot really. Yeah, I don't watch much TV. But during weekends, yeah, I do like to watch new movies or different series.
What about, are you one of those people that will stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning just watching YouTube videos?
Not YouTube videos, but yes, if I'm addicted to some series, then I would just binge watch and watch it, watch them till 5 in the morning.
Yeah, what shows do you watch?
Shows. Recently, I've been watching Suits. It's a new series, and it's really good. You should try it too.
Okay. Oh, I'll have to check it out. Thanks.
You're welcome, Todd.
Deaf to email.
Hey, Jen, we're talking about technology. I'm curious, how many times do you check your email every day?
Nowadays, I check it every day because I have so many emails coming from my company. So I have to be updated. But in the past, I would not check it for like I would just check it 2 or 3 times a week. How about you?
Yeah, see, actually, I brought that up because I think this is an interesting generational shift. Like, I don't check Facebook and all that stuff that much. But my generation, we check email multiple times a day, right? For work, like you just said. But the younger generation, from what I understand, you guys don't even use email.
Yeah, like if you asked me the same question 2 months ago, I would say I hardly check my emails because everything, like all the conversation I have, it's all on like Facebook or some other social media, you know, not emails. Like I think that's very old school.
Yeah, so you do like text messaging, Line, WhatsApp.
Yeah, all of that.
All of that. Like, how many accounts do you have actively that you actively use?
Wait. Maybe I actively use 5 of them, but I have 8 of them. Yeah.
Wow, you can manage that. Like, the reason I don't do it, I imagine that you just must get a message like every 20 seconds.
Not every 20 seconds, like unless you're dating, but yeah.
Really?
You get a lot of messages.
And that doesn't drive you crazy? That doesn't, like, bother you?
I think in the beginning it was like too much, but now we've just gotten like used to it, you know? Like it's just very normal for us. It's like you checking your mail 3 times a day, which is crazy for me.
Yeah, but still. Because the thing is, I don't like the phone. I think we've talked about this before. Like, my generation was the fingers generation. So we used our fingers to type. And the younger generation, you use your thumb, right? And to me, it's really slow and just painstaking to do, like to communicate with your thumb on the phone.
Really? Because for me, I think it's faster than typing.
I know. Actually, I see you guys, and it's amazing. Like, I see my students, how fast they can use their phone, and it's phenomenal to me. It's like blurry. It's so fast.
I think if you start using your phone more and like not your PC, then you would be fast at it too. Because like even if I were to check my mails, I don't do it from my PC. I actually reply to all my mails from my phone itself.
Wow. Actually, no, I think it's not true because I've tried. I think it's because I'm older, right? So my phone gets stiff. I mean, my thumb gets stiff like arthritis or something. Like it literally stops moving. That's why I'm amazed. Like I physically can't do it. No, I really and when I type, I could type really fast, touch type, but I cannot move my phone that fast. And the longer I try, I get thumb fatigue. Like my thumb just stops. Like the joint won't work anymore.
For me, it's very difficult for me to type really fast. I would rather use my thumb and text.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so now these days, I don't know if you've realized, but you can do voice typing. Have you tried that? So like Google Docs, for example, you don't even have to type anymore. You can just talk in a microphone and with no special software, and Google Docs will type what you say.
But then again, you have to be very clear because like it always makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, but you know what's amazing about it is I was doing it with my students, and then I was going to have my student do it, and the voice recorder wouldn't take their voice. It would only take my voice.
I think it's because like the
user account name?
Yeah, the user account name can only recognize your voice because that's been saved first.
Right, so it saves the first voice and then another one won't work.
Yeah, I guess.
So that brings up the question, technology gets better and better and better. Do you think typing will be obsolete, will be gone in 5-10 years?
I cannot really say, but maybe no. Not in 10 years. Maybe 20 to 30 years, yes, but not in 10 years. Because I think still people are more comfortable writing their books and stuff, like reports, just typing, you know? Everybody doesn't like to talk a lot.
True. Yeah, I think there's a different mental process when you type, and when you just speak, it goes away.
Yeah.
Pests and predators.
So, Rachel, you are from New Zealand, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Now, when I lived in London many years ago, my roommate was from New Zealand, really nice guy, and he had the coolest job. He would ride around a motorbike in New Zealand, in the
Yes.
bush, as he called
Yes.
it, the wild, as we say,
The bush.
the bush, and his job was to just kill invasive species. That was his job. Just go out and plant traps for rabbits and...
Yes, that's right. Actually, I have a friend who does that now.
Really?
Yes.
So it's that big of a problem. You have to
It's a huge problem, yeah.
Really? So what animals are a problem?
Rabbits, like you mentioned. Possums are a big problem in the bush because they eat a lot of the native plants.
We have possums too in America, in Northern California, and they are disgusting. I love animals, but they're one animal I don't like. They're nasty.
There is a big possum hunt in many areas every year, and they're starting to sell the pelts as fur because it's not a protected species, so there's no limits on how much you can catch and how much fur you can sell.
Yeah, and they often have rabies, right? At least in the States, we have to be very careful.
No, we don't
of them.
have rabies in New Zealand.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes, so...
Yeah,
No
we have
animals
crazy
have rabies.
stories of possums or raccoons having rabies. And so when you see one, they tell you, do not touch it, don't go near it,
we don't have that
because if you get bit, you're not good. And I got bit by a dog when I was in Thailand and had to get the rabies shot, and it was not fun.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, and then luckily for me, I went in to get the shot because I didn't know really about rabies. I wasn't educated about it, and I thought, well, the dog just bit me a little bit, but I better go and check. And then the doctor was like, oh, no, it can kill you. You better get it checked out. So
This is one of the reasons we have very strict import laws in New Zealand, because we've seen the damage that can be done, and we're very strict now. And rabies is one of the diseases that we don't have and are very keen not to ever have.
yeah, you hope so. So you have a problem with possums and with rabbits. Anything
Rabbits
else?
on farms. There's also wild deer and boar in the forests who also do a lot of damage, and stray cats and dogs as well also kill a lot of native species. There's no native animals in New Zealand. The only mammals that are native to New Zealand are dolphins and bats. So there's no natural hunters except for hawks. So the birds, a lot of the birds have lost the ability to fly, and they nest on the ground. So they're
wow.
enormously vulnerable to predator species like cats and dogs. They've almost completely decimated many bird species. So that's why there are hunters throughout New Zealand who are basically given free rein to shoot whatever they can find, because they are so destructive to the natural environment.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that you have some campaign to have no predators by a certain year, right? Like a new thing in New Zealand.
I haven't heard of that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's always been a goal.
I think that it was in the news. I'll have to check, so I could be wrong, but I think it was 2050 is the goal of the government, to have no predators.
That would be amazing.
And they say the big one is dogs and cats. That's the
Cats are a
sticking
huge
point.
one, yeah. They're starting to become much stricter about controlling cats and dogs now, keeping cats inside and keeping dogs leashed,
Yeah.
so that they don't run off into the bush and cause a lot of problems.
But dogs, I think, are more domesticated. They're probably not as dangerous. But cats are basically, they're not really that domesticated. They're still natural hunters.
Yeah, we keep them with us to hunt, pests like mice who live with us. Yeah, so they catch a lot of birds. But with the birds nesting on the ground and unable to fly, it's very easy for the dogs to kill them as well.
Oh, I see.
So,
And dogs just can be kind of naughty sometimes.
heck yes. And they run off.
Wow. So what do you think? Do you think your country can achieve this goal, no predators, by 2050?
It sounds very challenging. I think at present only some of the offshore islands are completely pest-free. No predators. Yeah, that's not quite the same as no pests. That's because pests also include things like rabbits and possums and deer, and that don't eat the native species. So maybe just predator-free might be a bit more achievable, I think.
Birds don't fly.
So, Rachel, you said that in your home country of New Zealand, there's lots of birds that don't fly.
Yes, there are a lot of birds that don't fly.
Wow, see, I only knew of the kiwi and, of course, the penguin, but I didn't know of other ones. So first, the kiwi doesn't
Yes,
fly,
that's
right?
the famous one.
Right.
They don't fly, but they can run very fast. I've
Right.
seen them.
And, like, are the kiwi all over? Like, are there different types of kiwi?
There are several different varieties. They're very rare, though, and they're nocturnal. So
Oh, nocturnal.
I'd say most New Zealanders have never seen one in the wild. I've only seen them in kiwi parks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You
Okay.
don't see them.
So I thought they'd be like kangaroos in Australia or something. You
No,
go
they're
and there's
very,
one.
very precious and very rare.
Oh, wow.
One that you see more often is a pukeko, which is it looks a little bit like a stork, I suppose, except it's dark blue.
What's it called?
Pukeko.
Pukeko.
Yeah, and they're a lot more common. And takahe is another one.
So the first one that
You can
looks
see them along the side of the road when you're driving through the countryside. They're much more common.
So this pukeko, does it fly?
No, they don't fly.
Really? And it's like
Yeah.
a stork. It has long legs.
It has quite long legs, yeah. It's a very cute little bird, but it's very dark.
How tall is it? Like up to your knee, up to your hip?
Maybe up to your knees.
Really?
Cute little bird.
That's awesome. And so what was the other one you mentioned?
Takahe, it's a very similar looking to that one. It's a little different, difficult to tell apart.
Really? And it's also like kind of dark bluish?
Yeah. Another one's a kakapo, is a very famous one. It's New Zealand's flightless green parrot. It's kind of like a large fat parrot that lives on the ground.
Really?
It's extremely rare. I'm not sure what the numbers are now, but around 20 years ago, I think there were only 45 left.
Oh, that is
Extremely
rare.
So
Wow.
there's an intensive breeding program for them. And
Yeah.
of course, nobody's seen those in the wild.
Wow, yeah, you have to be careful to go like the way of
You
the
do.
Tasmanian tiger.
They breed and they nest on the ground. They lay their eggs on the ground, so they're very vulnerable to introduced predators, to any animals.
Yeah, I know that like you don't have snakes, but I know that snakes, when they got into Guam, like decimated the bird population.
Yeah, that's what would happen, and that's why New Zealand immigration and customs is very strict about what kind of animals you can bring in. We don't even have snakes in zoos.
That's smart. Yeah.
Michael Jackson famously came to New Zealand in the 1980s and wanted to bring his pet snake with him, and he wasn't allowed to.
Oh, good on you.
There were no exceptions to that rule.
Are there any other birds that don't fly? Like, for example, do you have penguins?
Oh, yes, there's lots of penguins in New Zealand.
In the south, right?
Yeah, in the south. Oh, they come up to the north sometimes.
Really?
Occasionally you see them.
That far north?
Yeah, occasionally. The big colonies are down south.
Oh, that's amazing. How cool.
Yeah.
Any other birds that don't fly?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll have to look it up on the internet.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's quite a few. That's
they are quite a
so
few.
nice. Yeah, that's
The
interesting.
most famous was the moa, of course.
The moa?
Which is an ostrich-sized bird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they were killed off before Europeans arrived in New Zealand.
Oh, easy hunting.
They were easy hunting, yeah,
Yeah.
and big feast, yeah.
It's funny how when you go to a place, you really want to see like a local animal. So last year I went to the Middle East. I went to UAE and Oman, and I just wanted to see a camel.
Camels,
I wanted
yeah.
to see a camel so bad. And I thought, like, I
Everyone
had a feeling
drives
that it'd be on the
Mercedes these
side of the
days.
road, there'd be a camel. And I was actually kind of going out in the countryside. I wasn't just in
Yeah.
the city. And I never saw a camel. And I was asking people that work there. They're like, oh, yeah, you do see them. But I was just so heartbroken that I never saw a camel.
Oh,
Yeah. It's one of my favorite animals. I just think they look so cool. So when I go to New Zealand, I have to make sure I see a kiwi.
but you'll have to go to the Kiwi House.
The Kiwi House?
Kiwi House, it's called. Or just look up zoos.
And they got them?
Yep, they got them there. But you won't see them just driving around.